Hello and welcome to the WBAP 820 570 KLIF Weather Podcast for Thursday, September 29th, 2022. Of course, the big kahuna in the weather today is now the tropical storm remnants of the Category 4 hurricane Ian. It devastated much of the barrier islands that were to protect the Cape Coral area and Fort Myers, and the damage is just now being seen, much less assessed. This will be a long process. There are some areas along the Gulf Coast of Florida that will never, ever look the same. But it happens now and then. In fact, it was, as we mentioned last week, a very late start to the hurricane season in the Atlantic, but looks like a big finish here over the next couple of months. And all Thursday night, this slow-moving hurricane dropped rain not by the inch, but rain by the foot in a huge swath of wind damage and flooding up Interstate 4 through Lakeland, Florida to Orlando. And just this morning, it moved offshore near Daytona Beach. If there's any good news out of this at all, is that it did not hit the even more heavily populated areas of Tampa and St. Petersburg. It pretty much missed, at least the worst of it, missed the Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area. In fact, the offshore flow from the backside of the hurricane nearly emptied Tampa Bay. There were people literally walking in Tampa Bay on, relatively dry ground where, many, many feet of water had been just the day before. So hurricanes are just strange like that. Anyway, it's moved offshore near Daytona Beach, and we'll talk more about the kind of rain it's going to be producing in the southeastern United States in a little bit later. Okay, on our national satellite loop this morning, you can see how former Hurricane Ian has thrown a wide loop that stretches from nearly Guantanamo, from Cuba, up through the Bahamas, up as far north as the mid-Atlantic. And just look at the potential rainfall still over the next 2 days. 6 to 10 inches of rain expected around Charleston Thursday through Friday, with rain as far north as Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia before the weekend is over. This is a very slow-moving storm, 8-9 miles per hour, but it's also a very persistent storm. There's no big weather system to push it out to sea from the west right now. Nothing major from the west that's anywhere close to this area. So this storm is just going to hang out where it is and continue to produce a lot of rain over the southeastern and eventually the eastern part of this country. Yeah, and just look at the potential rainfall over the next 2 days. 6 to 10 inches of rain expected around Charleston Thursday and Friday. There'll be some flooding there, that's for sure, with rain as far north as Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia before the weekend is over. And here's a look at the national radar map. Off to the northwest, we're seeing a new storm system coming in from Canada, the Pacific Northwest, a few spotty showers across the Dakotas down into Nebraska, and then, of course, the heavy rain in the southeastern part of the country. By the way, while this has been an extremely slow start to the Atlantic hurricane season, the Pacific hurricane season has been quite active, and we're actually watching a tropical storm named Orlene, currently south of Mexico, which is expected to drift north into the Mexican mainland late this weekend. And here's kind of what we expect to happen. This is the North American model. Early next week, the remnants of Orlene will produce some rain, eventually across the hill country and South Texas, spreading toward the coast. Not from the Gulf, but from the west. Texas can get hurricanes from both oceans, and not too many places on Earth can say that. And then you also see that we have really nice weather in North Texas because of a very narrow high-pressure ridge squeezed between the big Pacific storm system up to the northwest and the circulation around the remnants of Ian. And that's why we're looking forward to some very stable and just absolutely delightful fall weather here in North Texas over the next few days. All right, let's plow through these surface maps starting at noon Thursday. Heavy rains moving out of northeastern Florida into Georgia this afternoon with scattered rain and a few thunderstorms in the Rocky Mountain West and as far north as Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So that's at noon today. This takes us up to Friday morning, which could be a minimal Hurricane Ian or more likely Tropical Storm Ian, which will be plastering Georgia and the Carolinas with heavy rains, while rain continues from Montana down through Wyoming into Utah and into northwestern Colorado. Okay, Saturday, what's left of Ian is just a big, nasty rain producer through the Carolinas, up through Virginia, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, into Pennsylvania, and even into New York on Saturday. And notice that little patch of purple up around Yellowstone National Park in western Wyoming. Yeah, that's actually snow. That's the first snow I've seen on a weather map, at least a forecast weather map, since last winter. So that takes us through Saturday. By Sunday, heavy rain from Ian moves on up through the mid-Atlantic with a chilly rain falling across Colorado. Ian is no longer a tropical storm by then. It's an extratropical storm, but still a very significant rain producer. All right, by Monday, Ian's still not giving up without a fight. More rains through Virginia, and then what's turning into kind of a complex storm system producing some rain from the Dakotas all the way down to New Mexico. And that is going to produce a little cold front we're going to start watching. On Tuesday, we start watching this little cold front coming out of the Rockies. There's not much rain left from Ian in the eastern part of the country. By Wednesday, that front's through the Panhandle and knocking on the door of North Texas. But on Thursday, it kind of stalls out. The front is struggling to get into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we'll have to see what happens here, but that's a week away. So here's our forecast starting, again, Thursday afternoon, sunny, breezy, and mild with a high of 84. Southeast winds 10 to 20. Now, there hasn't been much rain since the early part of September, so there is some fire danger Thursday afternoon across North Texas in general. Fair and mild lows in the 50s to near 60 overnight. Friday, sunny and mild with a high of 83, low 58. Saturday, 85. Sunday, still mild with a high of 86. Then a little bit warmer Monday with a high of 87. We'll probably be warming up into the upper 80s before that next cold front comes through. So thanks again for joining us for the WBAP 820, 570 KLIF Weather Podcast for Thursday, September 29th. Enjoy this fall weather this weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.